That's what people need to start talking about. That's what I'm going to continue to talk about. Now, the other aspect of this, and for the first time, and I've been talking about this for a couple weeks, and I have a speech that I put up on my campaign site that I delivered on Saturday. And I was talking about the other aspect of this thing. And that is that you have these conservative, we've heard for years about these liberal activist judges and how they're running rampant over, expanding people's rights. Well, I'll take them any day than these conservative activist judges who affirm and ratify everything these crooked cops and crooked politicians do. They keep expanding the power of the police in relation to the individual. And it empowers the police. If these federal courts and juries are not checking the power and abuse of authority by these courts, this is what's going to happen time and time and time again. And this is exactly what's happened in Ferguson, Missouri. It's sickening to me. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. We need to fight this. We need to fight this by reforming the courts. That's the real heart of this whole message. That's what we're all here suffering about. And people, I haven't heard. For the first time today, there was an article in the New York Times where finally, one of these, law school professors was saying what I just said right there, that it's these conservative Supreme Court judges and Supreme Court justices and federal judges who are deciding these cases and saying, no, what the police did in this case is okay. And they're using the fear and intimidation of what happened on 9/11 to expand the power of the police. And it's for lack of a better term, it's a retarded system. We're stuck in the 1960s in these civil rights cases. And, people want to convince you that it's not the case. And when an Al Sharpton or a Jesse Jackson gets up and talk about this, they're labeled a race baiter. Well, these guys are still heroes. They're talking about issues that we still need to talk about because it's a problem that still continues to exist. And it's a problem that exists, and it starts in the courts. Now, I have an organization. I'm running for Congress, and I'm going to talk about lawyers, and I'm going to talk about how lawyers and bar associations control access to justice in this country, and they control this country in ways that many people don't understand. And I have an organization called the Pennsylvania Civil Rights Law Network. And I have a civil rights law network, too, where we're going to do this in every state, where we're going to do things like talk about what Roxanne said. And we're going to set up alternatives to this court system so we can show the light on these cases that aren't being shown through the courts. That's what I'm working on building. If I get elected to Congress, thank God for that election, because honestly, what motivated me to run for this office was the fact that I tried as a lawyer to change this from within. I tried to speak out and say, no, this is a legal process that we've got a lot of respect for. We've got to enforce the integrity of the legal process. They don't let you do it from within. The ones that try to do it from within are soon enough on the outside, and I know too many lawyers that have done it. And before we have to get to things like violence in the streets and people out there, with guns taking shots at these police officers and things that are coming to take your rights, there are still political solutions, and we do need political solutions. We need people with the courage to talk about these issues. They tried to shut me up. We had an event in Wilkes-Barre a couple weeks ago where Jesse was there, and we had about 50 people there. It got we had a civil rights icon in Jesse Epps, with the look back into history, a colleague and friend of Martin Luther King, and we were all out there speaking on the steps of the Luzerne County Courthouse, and the media didn't cover it. And they didn't cover it because I stood up there and I said, the media is part of the problem in controlling information and controlling these issues. And they thought that they were going to stick it to me by not giving me some free publicity. Well, they just proved my point for me. And I'm a patient man, and we're patient people because you got to be patient. You got to be extraordinarily strong. You got to be extraordinarily courageous. And above all else, you got to be extraordinarily patient when you fight these fights. And those people, in my district where I'm running, to sit there and not cover that event when we were up there talking about the harm of children and the court's role and lawyers' role and the harm of children is absolutely appalling to me. And we're going to get the last word on that, and that last word is going to be justice. So I'm not going to carry on a lot more. If you guys can help in any way spread my name, this is 2014. If I lose this election, we'll be back. We'll be back with this Pennsylvania Civil Rights Law Network. We're not going anywhere. These guys, Todd and Terrence, know how much energy and strength this takes. I don't know what everybody's personal fight is here and what brings everybody here personally. I know that a lot of y'all have suffered through the courts. But we're not going anywhere. Justice is going to be done. Justice is going to prevail. And that's really the message that we're just going to keep on bringing. So let's make this the start of something today, and let's continue the network. I have a suspended law license. I'm going to be undertaking steps to get my law license back. Whether I want it back or not, I don't know, because I think the whole legal system is crooked and needs to be changed, and I think it's a violation of our rights the way the entire thing is structured. But I want to keep fighting the fight within the system to prove that I'm willing to play by their rules. And when their rules, we'll prove that their rules fundamentally don't work and are designed to keep us down. And that's what we're going to do, folks. So I hope I passed down my card to everybody. Let's stay in touch. Let's keep in touch. And keep all this momentum going.
And there's a supply of Andy Ostrowski's cards in a free literature program.